with all the open part. Just behind us, over there, you actually walk out of the mountain in a very narrow passage. It was narrow before they widened the road. So the people from over here could enjoy not only from a good trade road, they also could charge toll or whatever. So what happened to Megiddo? Megiddo started to grow and to be good. And for example, the king of Egypt, when he was on the way to Mesopotamia, he had to fight against the people of Megiddo. He destroyed the village, but those four basic conditions remain. So they built another level, and then more or less about 6,000 years ago, the Hyksos came during the Chalcolite period. They came with the horses, and the local people were afraid of them. So they covered the side of the hill with the stones, and they create like a big cake, like a shape of a big cake. And the city grow and grow up to the top. Megiddo have the world record of level of cities, one of the top of the other. 26 cities, one on the top of the other. The very first one to do the excavation one over here was a guy with the name of Gottlieb Schumacher. He was a Templar. Well, you know the Templars because of Da Vinci Code and everything, right? Templar was, by the way, was an order. And the order became to be very rich, and the other orders who following or adapting their name had nothing to do with the old Templars. The old Templars, what happened was that they were so powerful and so rich, so the King of France, Charles, and the Pope, which I forgot his name, they owe a lot of money to the Templars, so they decided that the Pope will declare on the Templars as infidels, and the king will slaughter the Templars. So in this case, Pope is forgiving to the king for the killing, and both of them are not going to owe any money to anyone. Of course, some of Templars managed to escape, but only some. Most of them were slaughtered by the king. I think it was in 1294. I don't remember exactly. I just remember the day. It was Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th. So anyway, this is actually like the end of the Templars, but since then a lot of groups adopt the name. And one of them was a German group who one of them had, like one of the founder had a vision, and he organized a follower, and they came over and they built 5 villages in the Holy Land, and this was all in the middle of the 19th century. So those 5 villages was one next to Haifa. Haifa was not a big town, was not a big port yet, was just a little town over there, fishing little town over there. So one is next to Haifa. Today it's called the German neighborhood over there, or the Templars neighborhood. The second one is Sarona, which is now the center of Tel Aviv. The third one is Wilhelma, now known as Bnei Tarot. The fourth one is a German colony in Jerusalem, a block away from your hotel. And the fifth one was just about Bnei Tarot, Bethlehem of Galilee. So those 5 villages were the beginning. And by the way, we will bump to them again during our visit in Jerusalem, because some of the changes of Jerusalem was when the Kaiser Wilhelm II came for a visit. So anyway, Gottlieb Schumacher was one of them. And he used to live in Haifa. And his main project was to build the railroad from Damascus to Mecca for the pilgrims, for the Hajj. And one branch used to go to Haifa, from Damascus to Haifa. He defined Megiddo, and he had the sources and the knowledge, and he decided to do the digging over here. Now you have to remember that the tell grew up as like a cake, right?
Right.
What happened to the tells all around? More or less 2nd century BC. 2nd century BC, it was too crowded on the top. So people start to leave the top, start to live all around, and surrounded the entire area with a wall. And what happened to the tell? The tell became to be like the Acropolis of the city. This one, not, because this one was captured by the Assyrians in the year 758, when they came over. If you remember the siege later on, Zedekiah, the siege Jerusalem, and Zedekiah, and Hezekiah, with the Hezekiah tunnel and everything. So it was destroyed, never rebuilt after the 7th century BC. So when you get to a tell, you have two options to do the digging. You can shave level after level, or you can, if this is like a shape of a cake, you can take like a slice of a cake all the way down and to see the level all over. Schumacher did it. He found the very first 21st level, and then 5 more levels was found by Professor Gael Yadin years later. So there is no city in the world with so many levels of cities as Megiddo. And I'm looking on the timetable. We are a little